Here you go, bro.
What up? Welcome to another edition of 22 MW. My name's Tony. I'm coming to you from EBK Studios, and I'm joined by Kurtis. Kurtis, Lithgow, Leguizamo, or Lovitz?
You just said three names. You didn't actually ask any question.
When I said Bourne, Bond, or Bauer, you got it. How come you don't get it this time?
Well, I mean, those are three things that go together. These are just three people's names.
They're all John L's, and they all have very unique styles.
Yeah, I mean, I think all three have won several Academy Awards too, right? Leguizamo, sure.
Okay, all right. Before we get into our top 22, I do want to just clear up a little something. So on the midweek episode, I kind of crapped on my brother Andy for saying that Jason Bourne was the original credible. You know, if you heard that episode, I'm not going to go into it again. But he did give a pretty good example that I think is pretty accurate of somebody that played two iconic roles that weren't based on another material prior to the movie. And that was Jeff Bridges as the dude and Tron. But I'm not 100% sure people associate Jeff Bridges with Tron. I don't know. So, Kurtis, your top 22, please.
Top 22.
My top 22 this week, I finally got around to watching the third season of The Increasingly Poor Decisions of Todd Margaret. It actually came out, I think, around the first of the year. And I actually went back and watched the first two seasons because it's only 12 half-hour episodes, two seasons of 6 episodes each. And I won't talk a lot about it because if you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil anything. It's very original, especially the new season. The kind of what they did with it was very clever, very original. There's a lot of twists and turns as you watch it. So I won't spoil anything, but if you have the time, I would check it out. It's on Netflix. It's, at this point, 18 half-hour episodes. You can breeze through it pretty quick. They're not even a half hour. They're 22 minutes. So you can knock it out pretty quick. Very funny show with David Cross. I think it was from IFC.
Never heard of it. All right, my top 22 this week is pathetic, but I was super busy, so this is the best I got. So again, in March, I left a job that I was good at to do something that I'm not good at, and now I install lots of equipment, and one of which is fire alarm panels. And not to get too deep into this, but you're kind of supposed to be an apprentice for 3 years before you start working on them, by yourself and stuff. But we don't actually do that. So this guy that I've been working with, the electrician that was installing it, he did something that I've never gotten before, and he pretty much told me, hey, you're a cool guy, but you suck at your job. And I just have never gotten that before, never wanted to get that before, because I'm usually good at what I do, not so good at this yet. But that was, as I drove away from that conversation, I had a good laugh, because I've always told people, don't be that guy that gets through work, just on being a nice guy. Be good at your job. And I got a little crapped on. So there you go.
That was your top 22?
I liked it. I like when people crap on me.
I like constructive criticism. Anytime I get a new boss, I'm like, just if I suck, just please tell me I suck. Don't fire me.
I would never want anyone to not tell me I suck. That would freak me out if I thought that's the world I lived in. Because I want to know so I can fix it. I'm not content with sucking. I don't like. Like I said, I used to be good at my job. I like that feeling of coming home and being like, yeah, I killed it today. And someday I'll have that again, I'm sure.
Yeah, especially when because I'm in the same boat, kind of. I'm doing a job that I never did before until last year, and even then I didn't really start doing it till late last year. So there's a learning curve when you move into a new field. Please tell me if I'm not meeting that learning curve. Let me know, hey, you suck, stop sucking. Maybe help me learn how not to suck so much, but tell me I suck, please.
Yeah, and I told the guy day one, the first day I met him, I was like, look, we're going to be working together, and I don't know a lot, and I'm not very good, but I will get it done for you. And, I feel bad for him, but those are the breaks, I guess. All right, let's get into our trailer. A little watch it, rent it, forget it here. It's a movie called Hacksaw Ridge. It's got Andrew Garfield and Vince Vaughn in it, and directed by Mel Gibson. What did you think about this trailer, Kurtis? And watch it, rent it, or forget it.
So this looks like an interesting story. Looks like it could be a good war movie, but it's a forget it for one reason. And can you tell me what that reason is?
Vince Vaughn plays a serious role?
No.
Can I have a couple guesses?
That's not it.
The trailer gives a ton away.
That's not why it's a forget it, but it does.
It
do
feels.
that. No.
Let me keep guessing. It feels like Forrest Gump.
I mean, maybe
but not in a good way.
Maybe like 20 minutes of Forrest Gump stretched out over 2 hours, but no, that's not it either.
All right. The accent
It's
Andrew Garfield
it's that accent. I can't listen to that accent for 2.5 hours. It is beyond terrible.
It's a weird choice. You hear it and you go, even if the guy did talk like that, why would you do that? Because he's British, and he does a convincing American accent in a lot of movies. And it was just a weird choice.
I mean, if you're playing Ronald Reagan or Stephen Hawking or somebody everyone's seeing, you got to go with their voice no matter how annoying it is. I've never.
But you also kind of get the job on that condition too. That's a condition of those jobs.
Yeah.
If you're playing Ronald Reagan, that's part of it. Whereas this is just playing a role no one's ever heard of.
Yeah, you could have got away with not sounding exactly like that guy sounded, if this is even how he sounded. I don't know that it is. So, looked like this was maybe even World War I, not World War II. I couldn't really tell. So, maybe there's not even, audio of this guy talking. But I don't think I could listen to that accent for that long.
Yeah, so I kind of said all the things I didn't like about the movie. It feels like it goes way too deep in it. Again, it feels like 20 minutes, that's well said, 20 minutes of Forrest Gump stretched out over 2 hours. But it's a rent it for me. I don't know. It still kind of got me into it. The Vince Vaughn serious thing is going to be really difficult. I don't know if that ever worked for people that watched True Detective Season 2 or whatever. But I don't know. That may make it hard to watch. But the voice is bad. Yeah, it's real bad. I mean, and you notice it as soon as, the very beginning of the trailer, pretty much. So, I guess it's not lying to you like the Invention of Lying trailer, right? We're happy about that. We like honest trailers.
I guess.
Not the YouTube channel.
They could have gave less away.
It feels like it goes way deep into the movie, right?
I mean, I think they could have given you the gist of the guy doesn't want to shoot a gun without showing you what's probably not the end of the movie, probably is more like the midway point of him getting the right to do that in some triumphant courtroom scene where that probably would have been better saved for the movie. Right. Even if it's not the end, which I don't think it's the end. It looks like it's actually maybe even fairly.
But no, it's something you want to experience as the story unfolds.
And it doesn't need to happen to tell you what the movie's about.
Right.
He walks in and says, "I don't want to shoot a gun." Okay, I got what the movie's about. You don't have to. You don't have to show me all that other stuff. So.
Trailers are so bizarre. They're just so bizarre. All right, let's get into our first movie. From 2012, directed by Tony Gilroy, starring Jeremy Renner, Ed Norton, Rachel Weisz, Joan Allen, Stacy Keach, Oscar Isaac, Corey Stoll in there as well. It is the fourth Bourne movie. It's called Bourne Legacy. This movie is Bourne in name only, it feels like. I mean, those other ones aren't really good. Me and Kurtis, neither one of us really cared for them. But this just feels formulaic and safe as you can possibly get. There's nothing to this movie. This was a really difficult watch for me. This was a tough week. One, I was super busy, and this was worse than any of the James Bond stuff. At least this movie just is. I don't even get it. It's weird. It's just a cash grab, I think, right?
It felt like a direct-to-video movie that looked really good.
I guess. I mean, so we didn't really talk about this before. Like, do you like the way they shoot the fight scenes?
I'm just talking about it didn't look like they shot it on cheap cameras.
Okay.
Not that it had. I mean, it still had that shaky cam, nauseous fight scenes all these movies have that I don't care for. No,
I don't care for it either. But at some points, it feels like they're just trying to hide the ability of the performers. And that's why I don't like it the most. Is it feels cheap. It feels like, movies from the 60s where they couldn't show you a lot of things they wanted to show you, so they just talked about it with it offset. I think there's a South Park episode like that, right? It's maybe the one where the Terry Schiavo episode, maybe, where they're like, this is 3 times bigger than any of the fights from the Lord of the Rings movies. You never seen that episode? South Park, pretty good show on Comedy Central. You should check it out.
I've seen it once or twice. I know what you're talking about. I would say, well, like, I don't care for that, but then I remember, in Batman Begins and Dark Knight, they did that shaky cam stuff, and then they didn't really do it in Dark Knight Rises, and it looked, I won't say worse, it looked fake. Like, him and Bane fighting, and they weren't doing the shaky cam, it didn't look as real as the shaky cam stuff that they did in the first 2 movies, so, I mean, I guess it makes the fight seem more real without putting the actors in danger. I don't know. I don't care for it. But this movie's just... It's just the same story. It's like there's another program, Jeremy Renner's running from CIA or whoever, and we run here, and we run to have some exposition, and we run to the next scene, and it's just really boring, and... you usually don't talk about performances or actors unless they're really good or really bad, but there is like this huge range in the middle, and like Matt Damon's kind of at the top of that range, and Jeremy Renner's kind of toward the end, where he's not awful, but like what did he bring to this role? He just showed up and talked in the same voice all the time, and I don't know. Maybe this movie would have been more interesting if we saw actually how dumb he was. Like if they had let him get all the way dumb, would that have been better? Like, I think there's like a couple scenes where you're supposed to think he's starting to get dumb, and then he doesn't really. He gets the shot or whatever, and now he's smart. I don't know. This movie's just not worth my time.
Not worth my time either. Way too safe. Just again, just nothing here. It's 1 Cloverfield Lane out of 5.
Yeah, it's 1 out of 5. It's the same story with Jeremy Renner, except not Matt Damon, and less interesting of a backstory than Matt Damon's Jason Bourne had, and that wasn't even that interesting. So,
all right, up next in theaters now from 2016, directed by the returning Paul Greengrass, starring Matt Damon, Tommy Lee Jones. Alicia Vikander and Julia Stiles in there as well. It is, as Kurtis says, from the Sylvester Stallone style of naming, called Jason Bourne, even though Flickster was calling it the Bourne Betrayal there for a couple of days. Let me ask you this, Kurtis. I want to get your thoughts first, but were you hoping they'd write a Tommy Lee Jones line in there where he's like, I want every newborn, stillborn, and born-again Christian? Yeah, I don't know. I was hoping they would do something with that, but I didn't get that. Anyways, what did you think about this movie, Kurtis?
It's just, again, more of the same. It's the exact same story, exact same plot. Nothing original. Didn't bring anything new. I mean, this is why you have to make Ghostbusters. This is why there are no... Hollywood's not making original stories. They're going to tell you the same story. So they got to put a recognizable name with it so that you'll go see it. So it's like, hey, we're making this movie that we've made 500 times before, including 4 other times in this franchise. It's the exact same movie. I'm telling you, there's nothing different about it. It's exactly the same. How do we get people to go see it? And it's like, well, we'll just stick with Jason Bourne. It's just another Jason Bourne movie. Matt Damon's getting old enough to play an action hero in 2016. Bring him on in, and we'll do it. And that's what they did. And this was just a really lazily made, terrible... I mean, look, if this is the first Jason Bourne movie I'd seen this week or this month, maybe I wouldn't have hated it so much. But after seeing 4 of them, seeing this one, I just wanted it to end. Every chase scene, I was just waiting for the chase scene to end. Every car chase, just waiting for the cars to crash and for them to get out. Every fight, just waiting for one of them to get knocked out or killed so I could just get on with my life. I can't do any more of these action franchises. It's just too much.
Well, I keep thinking we're going to run out of franchises at some point, but we're not. They just keep coming.
I'm not ever doing all the Fast and the Furious movies. It's never going to happen.
We've already kind of ruined that. We did 5, 6.
Good.
So
there we go. Good.
We ruined Transformers. We ruined a bunch. Yeah, we've ruined a bunch of good ones.
Yeah.
So this for me was like Bridge of Spies level boredom in the theater. And this is an action movie. And here's what I started thinking about while I'm watching this movie. It's like, okay, so in the first movie, they kind of gave you a reason to be interested in Jason Bourne.
A little bit, yeah.
But then they never really even tried to do that again, I don't think. Like, they gave him a story, but it's like neither here nor there. I just don't give a crap about him or what happens. And here we are all these movies later, and I actually thought Alicia Vikander was really good in this. I thought she really tried in this.
That's poor casting, but that's not her fault. She's way too young to play that character.
Yes, okay, I mean that may be fine, but again, I felt like she was the first person in this franchise to try.
All right, she was good, but she's like 27 years old, and she's playing someone who may possibly be promoted to director of the CIA at the end of the movie. That's ridiculous.
Okay.
That's like getting promoted to captain from cadet. That's so stupid.
God, I thought all week about what's the dumber thing you said on the show. That whole bullcrap or the I lay awake at night praying that MMA fights.
The other thing is, when they cast Alicia Vikander, that she's the new it girl, whatever. So at some point she's gonna get on Bourne's side. Like as soon as you see her in the movie, you're like, oh, she's with the CIA now, but it's Alicia. She's not gonna be the bad guy or the hater or whatever you want to call that. Stop Jack Bauer, stop Jason Bourne from saving the world type role is. She's not going to do that. She's going to join up with him at some point. Spoiler alert, she does.
Kinda. So.
I mean, not kinda, she does. At the end, the end leaves it a little more open to what they're going to do in the future, but no, they definitely team up for a decent portion of the film.
Yeah, the more and more we get into this, I just really wish that, I had paused and walked away during before the last 2 minutes of the third movie, so I just thought he was dead and there were no more movies. This was a painful week. Again, I had to work a lot, and it was really rough to get these in. I don't recommend these movies. I don't recommend this movie. Do yourself a favor. Don't watch them. 1 giant pillow out of 5.
I think if I hadn't seen all of them recently, I'd probably say this is a 2 out of 5. I might even say go see it, but I just watched the other 4. This is I can't stress, this is the exact same movie. Like, hey, how about Jason Bourne, teams up with the CIA or the government and does something or anything? It's the same exact movie. The government finds Bourne, they want to get Bourne, they're chasing after Bourne, and then he brings the fight to them in the last scene, and he walks away at the end until they're ready to make the next movie. Same exact thing. Nothing original here.
But that score, that killed me because I never realized that was his score because it's so kind of bland and pitiful.
That's what I was saying at the end.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it until I had watched the third movie a second time.
I didn't realize it until you pointed it out. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that's what that is. But it's not you can think of all the iconic scores you've heard in the history of film, and it's not one of them. So, no, not even close.
Yeah, this is a 1 out of 5. It's not good. This and those Mission Impossible movies, especially the last 2 or 3, are the exact same movie. Like, just do something a little different. Something a little different.
That's what I thought. I felt like that was the best part about Star Trek Beyond, was that they did do something different than we kind of saw in the first two movies.
Yeah, and if you want to make Episode 7 be just like Episode 4, that's fine, but give us something different in Episode 8. And if you want to do Raiders again, that's fine, but give us Temple Doom in the middle before you do Last Crusade. And even those are like still... They're not exactly the same. They're just the general things you liked about that movie. They recreated and put in some new good characters or changed a couple things. But at least they gave you something different in between. This gave you the same movie, 5 times now? The exact same movie 5 times.
Up next, also in theaters now, directed by Brad Furman, starring Bryan Cranston, Diane Kruger, John Leguizamo, Benjamin Bratt, Amy Ryan. It's called The Infiltrator. This movie, honestly, almost got ruined for me just by the fact that I was so busy watching Jason Bourne movies. And it was 2 hours and 7 minutes, and I went into it, and I'm like, with the AMC previews, and I'm going to be here for 3 hours. And then, like, the second act is pretty long in this movie, and I'm like, why couldn't this be a 90-minute movie? And then, like, you get to the end, and it all comes together, and it makes sense why it couldn't be a 90-minute movie. And it was totally worth it, but I hate that I almost didn't get to enjoy this experience because of these garbage Bourne movies.
Yeah, I watched Bourne Legacy last night, went to bed, woke up, and went to see Infiltrator at noon, and then followed it up with Jason Bourne. So this was like, I didn't love this movie, but it was a nice break in between those two Jason Bourne movies. My main problem with this is that this is a really clunky movie. I don't know if it's the writing or the editing or what, but it's just very clunky. You know, like most movies will do that thing where, you know, you open up a box and you don't see what's in it, or somebody gets killed and you don't know why, and then later in the movie you find out. Like, some movies will do that once, if even once. This movie did that like every 5 minutes. What was in that box? Don't worry, we'll tell you in 5 minutes. Wait, why did that guy get shot? Don't worry, we'll tell you in 5 minutes. Why did this happen? We're getting to it. Just calm down. And
it's real millennial of you, Curtis, to be
it's not
I need my answers now. I need them now.
Well, it's not like any of these things were what was in Marcellus's briefcase. Okay, I mean, they were just common plot points, and it was just real distracting to watch the movie and constantly have scenes happen and not really know what's going on, and then 5 minutes later have the characters tell you what just happened. Like, again, that's fine once or twice, but they did it the whole movie. I mean, look, this was well acted across the board. The characters were good. Bryan Cranston's character was good, but that part of it was clunky, and also it really couldn't make up its mind if it was like about him getting too attached to the character he was playing, or, hey, I'm leaving my wife and kids at home, which that part's really weird that he goes home at the end of the day about being undercover, but whatever. And then at the end, like, they even, like, just kind of throw in that, like, oh, no, he actually kind of liked some of the people he was trying to arrest. That kind of seemed to almost come out of nowhere.
No, that worked. That's why I'm saying it couldn't have been 90 minutes, that you needed that.
We didn't even meet those guys till over halfway through the movie.
Yeah, but you needed to establish his relationship with John Leguizamo, what they were doing, and then once they get into it, you needed to establish his relationship with Benjamin Bratt. To me, that was the payoff of the movie.
Okay, it wasn't that great a payoff for me. I mean, it was all right. I mean, the payoff for me was just that this was a good story. I didn't particularly care for the way they told it, but it was a good story. And Bryan Cranston was really, really good. I mean, you could draw some parallels between this character and Walter White as far as family man versus having to do these crazy things. There's that scene where he's in the restaurant with his real wife was a very tense and good scene.
That was the best scene in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, they kind of did all these things. None of them really worked for me, but overall, I thought this was pretty good. I didn't love it, though.
Like I've said in the past, I like John Leguizamo when he's not trying to do comedy. I thought he was great in this. I love the Bryan Cranston stuff. I liked the kind of, you know, growing up, my dad wasn't around a lot, and like as I got older and kind of got into my job, I kind of got that. Like, it's easy to get lost in your job. I thought that they did a good job of telling that story. Yeah, there were some weird things, like him going home and some other stuff. It was really weird that like she goes to pick up his tux for this wedding because like he dresses totally different, right? Like why would he's bought all this other stuff, why would he not just get a new tux?
Clearly just the excuse to
get them to talk. Yeah, I mean, it's weird nonetheless. That being said, I really enjoyed this movie. It was a great palate cleanser I watched four Bourne movies, then it, and then my fifth. But for me, it's 4 Jesse Pinkmans out of 5.
It's a 3 out of 5 for me. It's a pretty good movie, but it definitely has some problems telling the story, which is a good one. And at the end, you get the whole picture, but that whole like we'll tell you in 5 minutes what just happened over and over again got on my nerves.
All right, so midweek we are going to review some lesser DC favorite movies in honor of Suicide Squad, because that's kind of the theme of what those guys are doing. So me and Kyle are going to do that. Kurtis isn't going to show up for some reason, but Kurtis will be back next weekend when we review Suicide Squad. We're going to look at the remake from, I think, 1959 of Ben-Hur. We're not going to watch the original. And I'm going to review the Netflix original series Stranger Things, and I'm going to ask Kurtis to watch the pilot at least.
I'm planning on watching that, but my wife wants to watch it, so I got to go.
Oh my God! And just watch the pilot.
Yeah, we can probably do that. We're watching that Night Of on HBO, but we're all caught up on that, so we only have to watch that on Sunday. Yeah, I'd probably do that.
It's 44 minutes. I watched it, but I'll talk about the whole. I'm going to watch the whole series before I talk about it next week.
Are you going to spoil it for me?
I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
I don't want it spoiled.
Well, you should have done the midweek episode then.
What does that have to do with it?
Gotta go, son.
Pay attention.